Maximilian dude put out a pretty cool video, I would say, because it's one of those things where like Maximilian is like, I would say, one of the most acknowledged fighting game content creators, and it's why he's the biggest content creator. You don't really hear him complain much, right? Which is fair. He likes to stay positive when it comes to his community. He doesn't like to be negative. I don't like to be negative. I end up being negative, unfortunately, because I'm very passionate about the games that I play, the franchises. So I'm pretty negative when it comes to some aspects of DBD, and pretty negative when it comes to Mortal Kombat. But like as far as other fighting games go, I'm pretty positive. Like I love Street Fighter 6. But you don't hear him do this much. You don't hear him or see him like put out like big criticism videos, right? So he put out a video called Fighting Games That Deserved the Criticism. I thought it was a fantastic video. I watched it earlier today, and I kind of wanted to counter it with some fighting games that did not deserve the criticism, because there were a lot of fighting games that came out like in the past 10, 12 years that got a lot of criticism, and I just didn't feel like it was deserved. I mean, one fighting game that Max has even criticized, and it's one of my favorites, so I wanted to like make a video kind of like in response, something like that, to talk about fighting games that just did not deserve the shit that they got. So yeah, let's talk about some of them. But the first fighting game that did not deserve the shit that it got, and this is actually like the one that Max has been very vocal that he did not like. Oh god, I can't hit my backspace bar. Injustice 2, dude. Like Injustice 2 was a little rough when it came out. It had a lot of like hardcore zoning, like with deck shot and everything, but once that got fixed, it was a really fun fighting game to play. It had a lot of like freedom of expression when it came to the characters, a lot of really cool combos and setups. Oki, like it was super fun in my opinion. Like a lot of the characters felt different, and it gave us some of the most iconic characters in like NRS. Like Scarecrow was super fun to play. Harley was super cool. The Flash was super cool in this game. A lot of it was actually, it's one of the few NRS games that is like legacy, right? So Injustice 2 was like an updated version of Injustice 1 with like some new moves, a new coat of paint, some new systems and shit like that, right? I thought it was really cool. I do not think it deserved all of the hate that it got. Like, yeah, when it first came out, it definitely more or less deserved some of the hate when it came to like zoning and stuff. But I really feel like the zoning like improved as time went on. Like they put out a patch, like not like extremely quickly, but like pretty quick when it came to how broken Deadshot was. Yeah, Starfire, when she came out, she was a little like zone heavy, but she also had some pretty good rushdown as well. Like I felt like you could play this game in so many different ways with like freedom of expression and like different characters and the way they played, and you also had the tools to get around some of the zoning. Yeah, some of it was super fucking annoying. There were some characters it's like, God, I don't want to fight this character. But like outside of that, not everybody did that. It wasn't a very zone heavy game where like everybody had so many zoning tools like MK11 and even MK1. So like there was a lot of enjoyment to be had here. I really just don't think it deserved all the hate that it got, especially when it comes to like it had a lot of content too. There was a lot to do, and it was a good DC story mode. I felt like it was really good, dude. And you had so many different ways you can make your character look. There was some premium skins that completely changed the way that the character looked, changed them into a different character, gave them a different voice and everything else. I just thought it was really cool. It definitely did not deserve all the hate. And I'm one of the few people sitting on pins and needles waiting on an Injustice 3. I want it really, really, really freaking bad. So while it did deserve some of the criticisms it got, I don't think it deserved everything, right? I'd say my next one, believe it or not, I'd say Street Fighter 6, dude. Street Fighter 6 gets a surprising amount of hate, especially recently for some reason. Like a lot of people are hating on Street Fighter 6 right now. Capcom literally gave us exactly what we wanted. They released Street Fighter 5 and nobody liked it because it was slow, it was esports based, the characters didn't have a lot of freedom of expression, there weren't any cool combos, the game was just slow. It was boring. It was not really fun to play. It wasn't interesting. None of the characters really looked cool. The art style was off-putting, right? It got a lot of hate, and I think it deserved it. But, like, since the game came out, people have been complaining, especially pro players. They're like, dude, it's too much, right? Like, it's too much to take in. It's just too explosive. But, you know, they gave us what we want. It's not boring. It's exciting. There's a bunch of different fun mechanics in the game. The drive system while it is flawed, it gives us it makes the game fast, and fast fighting games are fun. Obviously, everything's subjective, but fast fighting games are fun, dude. I think most people would agree with that, right? So they went back, they were like, okay, what went wrong with Street Fighter V? And they fixed it. They were like, okay, everybody thought it was boring. There weren't that many fun game mechanics, so they added this crazy ass drive system. They brought parry back, made it a bit different, right? And they gave us everything that we wanted. They fixed everything that we complained about. Now, are there still problems with Street Fighter 6? Yeah, absolutely. The Oki in the game is not very good for most characters, right? It ends up just being throw loops, right? It is throw loop the game when it comes to Oki. You are throw looping and you are baiting throw techs to get counters with punish counters, right? That's not good. That's not the best. That could definitely be worked on, but we're year 1.5, getting ready to be 2. And I'd say it's the most fun Street Fighter since Street Fighter 4. Bro, right? Like, they're giving us everything. Capcom is on a fucking roll, brother. Right? SNK and Capcom are on a roll. Like, King of Fighters 15 wasn't as popular as I think it should have been. But, like, a new Fatal Fury that looks a lot like Street Fighter 6, dude. Bro, Capcom versus SNK 2 coming back. And then all of these crossovers with SNK, with Terry and Mai, dude. We're eating right now. Capcom is on a fucking high, dude. Like, it's starting to feel like fucking 2009 again, 2008 again with Street Fighter 4. And then, like, shortly after that, we got Marvel vs. Ultimate Marvel. Well, no, it wasn't Ultimate yet. Marvel vs. Capcom 3, right? So, like, dude, like, they're just on a roll. And Street Fighter 6 kind of, like, kicked it off, dude. So we're watching Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and Beyond gameplay, right? Max's mod that just came out, that he spent $30,000 on and put like a year's worth of work into. Fantastic. But I will say Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite definitely deserved a lot of the hate it got, but it did not deserve the hate when it came to its gameplay. And I don't even know if this would be the right way to say it. I don't know if it would be the right way to say it because the gameplay never really got hate, because it was pretty widely agreed that it was a really, really fun fighting game, right? I will say I'm putting it in this video because it didn't get the recognition it deserved for the gameplay. The gameplay in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is some of the best in the series. I'll go ahead and say that. Would I prefer like a 3v3? Did it go backwards in that aspect? Yeah, kinda. But when it comes to the Power Stone and the way the tagging system works in MVCI, it was just so fun. It was so free. There were so many different things you could do. The freedom of expression was like turned up to 12 in this game. But like, I just don't think the gameplay is talked about enough in how fucking good and fun it is. Even when it comes to the stones, dude, it's so fun. Like, even as someone who doesn't care for the cast all that much, especially with the Marvel side, which is a big thing for me, it's become less of a thing since I've really gotten into Street Fighter and shit like that. It's become less of like a deal breaker with that cast. But like, even with the bad cast where I didn't care for most of them and it didn't have X-Men, right? The gameplay was so fun that I just picked a couple characters, like especially when Venom got in there. Venom's one of my favorite, but like, you know, a lot of the cast was fun. They just weren't the characters that we wanted them to be. Because I specifically remember like a developer interview when people were mad about not having Magneto or Storm or Jean Grey, Phoenix, right? And they were like, well, that's what Nova and Captain Marvel are for if you want 8-way wave dashing, right? And it's like, yikes. Yeah, like, wow, you're really gonna do that? You're really gonna say that? But at the same time, like, they do all the same things, and it's fun. It's a lot of fucking fun. I just don't think the gameplay in this game is talked about enough, and now it is talked about now with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and Beyond, which, thank God. You know, the updated code of paint, you know, really shows that people really care about, like, graphics and cast in a fighting game, which I'm glad it's letting, like, fighting game developers know that, because it is a big thing. The way your game looks in a fighting game, we're looking at graphics and art style more than most other video games, right? Like, if Call of Duty looks like shit one year, nobody cares, but we're seeing all these different animations and supers and character models up close, much more than a lot of other games out there. So it's important, right? And cast, right? Like, who you have to pick from to play. That's a huge thing as well. But like, the gameplay, I'm so glad Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and Beyond is a thing, because the gameplay, it's really like having people be like, oh yeah, fuck, that game was actually like a lot of fun. And that's such a good thing, because it deserves it. It's such a fun fucking fighting game. You know, and another one, I feel like I'm in a fever dream thinking this right, but another fighting game that I don't think deserved the hate that it got. Maybe I'm in a fever dream. Maybe I'm remembering things differently, but I specifically remember, oh me, bro, oh me. I specifically remember Guilty Gear Strive getting a lot of shit, right? I remember it getting like so much hate. And dude, this was the game that introduced me to Guilty Gear. I never played Guilty Gear. I'd never even heard of Guilty Gear before. Well, I heard of it, but I just didn't really, like, I never looked into it. It was kind of like King of Fighters for me before King of Fighters 15 came out. I never like looked into Guilty Gear. And then Strive came out and it had so much hype around it. I played it. Like, the mechanics in this game, dude, were so much fucking fun. Zato, dude, Soul Bad Guy. I played both of these characters very voraciously, dude. It was so much fucking fun, dude. The different systems and mechanics they had in the game, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't play it as much as I should anymore, even though I know people are still playing. Like, it's one of those games where, fighting games that I want to go back and relearn, just because of, like, how good it actually was, dude. It was so much fun. I will say, on launch, the character variety wasn't the best, but the characters that were in the game played so vastly different and were so much fucking fun. They had so many mix-ups, different options for Oki, combo variations where you weren't seeing the same combos over and over again. You can look at the game right now, how beautifully animated the game is, how beautiful the graphics were, dude. The backgrounds, like, while they're not the most flashy, they still look great. And I just truly feel like the mechanics in this game were so much fun. I remember, for some reason, maybe it's a fever dream, I remember this game just getting a lot of shit. Like, people were so upset at the way that it played. Or at least, like, some legacy Guilty Gear dudes were, like, so upset at the way that it played. They said it was such a drastic difference from how XRD Rev 2 played. So it wasn't, you know, it wasn't good. It was trash. And I know that's, like, a thing with all fighting games. When the new one comes out, when Street Fighter 6 come out, Street Fighter 6 is bad, Street Fighter 5 is the best. When Street Fighter 5 came out, Street Fighter 5 sucks, Street Fighter 4 is the best, which, I mean, fair enough in that case, but, like, it's like that with every fighting game, right? I remember this game getting shit, and I've always thought, like, bro, this is a great fighting game. It did not deserve half the shit that it got. Now, it did have some problems when it came to the online lobbies that I directly experienced, and it was super annoying. So, like, that was definitely frustrating. It deserved the hate for that. I don't know why every fighting game that's coming out in the past, like, 7 years is like, yo, we have to have, like, this stupid fucking lobby with these stupid little characters that you run around with, and that's the only way you can find matches in our fighting game. So dumb. This one was, like, actually one of the worst ones, the worst offenders for that, along with Dragon Ball FighterZ. But this just got so much more shit for it. But yeah, Guilty Gear Strive did not deserve the shit that it got at all whatsoever, period. Outside of, like, at least when it comes to gameplay, art style, graphics, animations, like all of that, like the lobby system, whole different beast, right? But yeah, dudes, those are the fighting games that I think definitely did not deserve the hate, right? Street Fighter 6, Injustice 2, Guilty Gear Strive, and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, bro. Those were some really good fighting games. Outside of, like, obviously the main complaints people have about them, Street Fighter 6 throw loops, Injustice 2, some of the zoning shit, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, everything outside of the gameplay, right? And really Guilty Gear Strive, like, everything outside of the lobby system, right? These were some damn good fighting games, and I just don't think they deserve all the hate that they got.